via Fowler's, and this is a terrific idea. Fundamentally, what they're prepared to do is give you information in language you'll understand about how to avoid a shortage of funds in retirement. Why? Because they teach you about superannuation, and if indeed you're well past that stage, take on board the information that is becoming available so you can pass it on to your offspring, and beyond that to their offspring. And the wisdom is really quite obvious when you start hearing the importance of starting early, yes, but even if you haven't started early, there are important aspects of superannuation that you can learn here and fundamentally live a more comfortable retirement. I've got Paul Horn on the line. Paul's the Certified Financial Planner down at Fowler's Group. Paul, good morning.
G'day, John. Thanks for having me on.
It was really good last week too because we got some really basic information. But do you know what? Basic information sometimes is the most important. Fundamentally, let's talk about superannuation and why, Paul, it's the best way to save for retirement.
Well, John, one of the huge advantages of superannuation is the tax benefits that people get along the way. So superannuation is a special structure that has given special tax rules by the government, and the maximum rate that you'll pay while your money is accumulating in superannuation is 15%, which is far lower than the tax that most Australians pay on their income or investments that they may hold outside of super. So the reason why you get a huge benefit from accumulating money in superannuation is the reduced tax rate that is paid over time. And then when you actually retire, that tax rate actually becomes zero. So in retirement, when you start drawing down on your superannuation after age 60, then the tax rate on that super and what you draw out of it becomes zero, which is a huge benefit.
15% compared with what usually people pay, about 35 or something, is it?
Yeah, no, that's right. Yeah, so anyone who's earning more than $45,000 a year,
yes,
you are at least paying a tax rate of 34.5%. So, yeah, anyone for every dollar you earn above $45,000 a year,
yes,
you are paying a tax rate of at least 34.5%. So comparing that to the tax rate in superannuation of 15%,
yeah,
it's a huge tax saving.
Now, there's a heading here, contributions, the largest impact over the long term. Talk to me about the contributions.
Okay, so I suppose a lot of sometimes in the media or other advertisements we see on television and radio and wherever else they talk about fees and returns to do with super, which are important. Obviously, it's always good to get a bit better return, and it's always important to pay a bit lower fees where you can as well. But the biggest impact that you can have on your superannuation over time is the level of contributions that you put in. So for most normal working Australians, your employer is already now putting in 11% of your gross salary into superannuation on your behalf. So that's a great start, and that 11% is going to be going up to 12% over the next couple of years. So that's a great start. But if you can put in even just a little bit more,
yes,
that has a massive impact on your superannuation over time, far more of an impact on fees and charges and or returns when you look at the research over time. So just a good example is if a person over a 30-year period is even able to put in an extra $25 a week, so probably the cost of 5 coffees throughout the week. If you can put in $25 a week to your superannuation,
yes,
over a 30-year period, that accumulates you an extra $105,000 in your superannuation. So that even a small contribution like that can have a huge impact over time.
Do you know, we must one day talk about the magic of compounding interest, because that really, there's a prime example, isn't it? Gee, it's amazing. And you don't even notice it. What did you say, $25 a week or something?
That's
Once
right,
you get in the habit of it, you forget about it going out until one day you look at your account and what did you say, $105,000 is in there from nowhere?
Yeah, an extra $105,000. In retirement, that means an extra, probably anywhere from an extra $100 to $150 a week in retirement.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Let's talk about planning early and those small things that can make that big impact. Give me a whole picture of it, once again along the lines of, what is it, the magic of compounding interest?
Oh yeah, look, the compounding interest and the fact that you're having growth upon growth of your savings over time, that is has a huge impact, and particularly on something like superannuation, which is a long-term asset. So the money's being put away for you now, and you obviously can't access it until age 60. But the power of that money, increasing each and every year, it has a huge impact over time. So I suppose the earlier that people can look at their super and have a bit better understanding of their superannuation, what their balance actually is, how much is going in. So if you can start looking at those things early and start, making some adjustments early on, as opposed to maybe, thinking about it only 5 years out from retirement, it can have a huge positive impact over time.
Now, Paul, let's talk about investment options. For example, if someone goes down to Fowler's and say, I just heard Paul Horn talking about this is me and I'm 28 years of age and da-da-da-da, and I can make those sacrifices every fortnight or whatever. Does that person, that man or woman, sit down with you, for example, and say, how are we going to invest these monies, or do you fundamentally make those decisions for them?
Oh, no. It's important that the person, whoever the person is with their superannuation, that they have a good understanding of what are the different investment options available to them, and how those different investment options behave. So, say Australian shares and global shares behave a lot differently to, say, cash or fixed interest, and there's volatility in different investments, and investments will move around and give different returns. So we try to educate all of our clients about how different investment options behave, and whether people are comfortable with those different investment options, because everyone has a bit of a different attitude towards, I suppose, what we call risk, and how different investments will move around in value. So it's important for the clients to have a good understanding of that, and we then help them, I suppose, come to decisions around what they're comfortable with, and what those investments are most likely going to earn over a longer term period of time.
The advice you would give a 25-year-old would be perhaps different as far as the mix of investments is concerned to the advice you would give a 55-year-old.
No, definitely. Yep, they'll have different, I suppose, goals and objectives, and different ways that they're looking at their investments compared to someone who, as you said, a 25-year-old who's interested in, I suppose, just trying to accumulate as much as they can, versus someone who's maybe getting ready for retirement, who's more so looking at drawing down on their super. It'll be very different, and we factor that into the advice that we give around the investments within their super.
I would imagine sometimes, Paul, it's hard to convince a 25-year-old about what they're going to need in about 40 years' time, because they're having too much bloody fun.
That's right. They're mainly looking at what they might be spending this weekend when they head out. Yeah. So no, very different.
All right, Paul. Really appreciate this. People can contact you down there at Fowler's.
No, we're happy to people to contact us if they want to come in and have a sit down and look at what might suit them. And our office number here is 42324700, and happy to have a chat. Yep.
Lake Street, isn't it? I said City Place.
Oh, yeah, we're at 111 Lake Street.
But it hasn't been called City Place for years, has it? But
No, just down from where City Place used to be.
Exactly. 111, is it? 111?
Yes, 111 Lake Street.
Good on you, Paulo. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries, John. Thanks a lot for having me on. Thank you.
Paul Horn is the Certified Financial Planner with Fowler's Group, 111 Lake Street.